I did forget to mention in here, the net income calculator sheet, you will have the option to change the month. Okay, now when you change the month, please give it a second and you'll see a pop-up come up right here. In any second, it'll save all the data, and once you see the pop-up here, it'll be ready for you to edit the next month. So as you can see here, it's taken away all the information, and now everything's set back to 0 and ready for you to input the information for the next month. Same with March. Right now, it'll say that it'll store that everything's clear. And then once you see the notification pop up in any second now, that's when you have the green flag to go ahead and edit that month. So we can go back to January here. All your data is stored. Nobody can take it. It's not going to be useful to them. Here you swap back again, saw that notification pop up, and now you're ready to edit. Hello, and welcome to your monthly budgeting spreadsheet for 2025. If you have already bought this spreadsheet, thank you so much for supporting this small creator. My name is Isaiah, and I'm the only one that has been given the opportunity to create this amazing template. And if you haven't bought it yet, I'll be explaining to you the ins and outs of how to use this spreadsheet. So the first sheet we have here is going to bring you to an introduction of the spreadsheet. Here you will be able to read about all the sections we have, and you might hear this information in the video and read the same thing again, but it would be nice if you could check it out before you move on. In the net income calculator section, you're going to have different inputs to calculate your net income for the month. Of course, for this example, we're going to use January, and this person is 34 in North Carolina. He's the head of the household with 2 dependents, and the ratio he chose is 50-30-20. If you don't know what these ratios mean, you can check out the introductions sheet, and that'll tell you what each one means and who they are for. In this second box of input, you can put your hourly wage, your hours per week, your pay schedule, your job title and work location is just to note down if you want. And through that, we'll calculate your gross income per month, which is going to be displayed right here. Your primary and supplementary income tables will be the income calculated from our calculator, along with these other sections that you have here. You can have self-employment, pension, retirement income, and all of these other supplemental incomes. For these, I suggest putting the amounts you have as net income. So if you do have taxes that are taken away from any of these incomes, I would suggest that you calculate the net income after those taxes are taken out so you can have the most accurate net income here for you to budget off of. And here we have the paycheck tracker. We're looking for the first paycheck you get from either job 1 or job 2. And through that, we can calculate your projected from your actual, which should be more accurate to the income you received that month. As you can see here, right now we have the first job and the first paycheck we got is $1,791. And in these two sections, we have pre-tax deductions. You can choose any of these, and these are meant for deductions that are taken away from your gross income from the paycheck. And through that, it'll lower your taxable income that you get from that paycheck, reducing how many taxes are withheld. So you can choose any of these. If you do have a second job, you enable the job here, and you'll also have a second input field, and this field will open. Mind you, all the gray areas that you see here are not meant for you to enter in information. These are automated, just like these ones down here and these down here. For post-tax deductions, these are taken out after the tax is withheld. So these all include life insurance. You might have heard of Roth IRAs or insurance, union dues. Just check off the one you want, and you'll be allowed to enter information here. Like for example, right now I can't enter any information here, or here you'll get this notification that pops up. Same here, if I have it checked off and I try to check off or put in information for job 2, you will not be allowed to because this box isn't checked off. And here you'll be able to see the taxes withheld. This is the federal tax and how much they're taken out. This is the state tax. Mind you, this is only an estimate because some states have specific tax brackets, and we only chose to do tax rates, age deductions, base deductions off of those states, and we don't really go into a specific tax bracket to not be as complex, but it is a close estimate. Social Security is fixed. It's been fixed for a while now. So you'll be able to see how much is coming out of that paycheck and also your Medicare. In the net income calculations, you'll see the process of what your gross income goes through in order to get you your net income per month, which is how much you can spend and how much you take home. All right, and if you move to the right here, this is going to be the pretty much the final display. Here you have your net income from here and your budget ratio, and then here you'll be able to see where your limit is in each area. So for needs, you'll be able to spend $2,391. For wants, you'll be able to spend $1,434, and in savings and investments, you'll be able to spend $956. That's how each of these budget ratios go. The first one here is needs, the one in the middle is wants, and the last one is savings and investments. So now we're going to move on to the expenses allocation sheet. Here you'll be able to track all of your transactions and basically any payments you'll make through the month. And here is where all the budgeting happens, where you're going to put your funds, how much you put into these funds, how much you have left. So first here we have your preferred budget. Right now it's the estimated income. So that is from the net income calculator, the one we calculated for you. The second one is projected from actual. So based off your actual, we'll multiply this by your pay schedule, and then we'll also add any of the values here. So you see self-employment here, this one is higher because we have a self-employment amount, and you didn't get that amount yet for this month. So you'll put that here, and that'll bring it closer to the expected per month. And then we have the manual entry. If you're like, I want to go in the middle, you can put in a manual entry like, let's just say, let me just put it at $4,000. That way you can be in the middle and you'd be more likely to have this actual budget to use. But for now, we're going to stay on the estimated income for now because we didn't get all the information from the actual per month yet. So here we can see that groceries, dining, personal care, and miscellaneous, these are transactions we made. We'll get into that later. And then here you'll see the money in, which is off of the budget you chose. The money out is everything you paid off. Needs is these are the amounts that you have in each section. So needs, wants, and savings and investments is self-explanatory. So first we'll get into the bills and payments section. Here you have multiple categories like housing, rent, mortgage, property taxes, HOA fees. All of these you can choose from based off of how your bills and payments go. And through here you can select the due day of that month and it'll show the entire date. You can use this if you want. It's just for you to see and make a mental note of where it is and actually have it displayed somewhere. And then you'll put the amount here that is due. And then once you have it paid off, you'll check off the checkbox that's in the same row. You can add any notes or anything like if this is one of a separate rental, you can put that there. And it'll track all the information here. The amount left is $370 for you to pay. And now we'll go into subscriptions. We're going to here. Same with the due date and complete date, the categories. These are all the categories we have. And if you go into here, the amount is how much you pay per month. Mind you, all of these are per month. And then you can choose if this will go into needs or wants. So these are all wants because do you need these or do you want them? And once you pay these off, you'll check it off and that'll amount to here. And then in debt repayment, it's pretty much the same. You have these categories right here. You have a description for a little note you want to write. Here you can put your goal of how much debt you want to pay off that month, and then at the end or throughout the month, you'll keep on adding to this actual amount, and that'll show how much you paid off of that goal. And here we paid off 50 bucks so far, but we still have that $50 in that student loan that we still have to repay. Mind you, I'll go show these categories in variable transactions. If you go here, you'll have all of these which you can choose from. And now in here, you'll be able to choose from the same ones. So since we made purchases in each of these, we want to make sure all of these are in here. In here, same in here. Why don't we have gifts and donations in this one? Because we haven't made any purchases yet for gifts and donations. That's just our budget. And here you can choose whether they go into the needs budget or the wants budget. Now we're on to the savings. Like this one is an other, so we put extra debt as a note. And these are your goals, how much you want to save this month, and then how much you put in this month. All right, and then here's investments. Here's your goals. This is an other, so it's kid funds, stocks. Well, stocks, we use Acorn investments to make this goal and put in the actual. And then in the top here, we have the balances. So needs balance is how much you have left, and then wants how much you have left. Savings, same thing. We have left and wants, and this calculates based off of your budget, not the actual, because we don't want you to go over with the budget and then the actual is less. We just want to make it simple for you. Mind you, if you do swap off manual, it will be invalid. So you can delete this if you want. It really doesn't matter. Like if you try to put it in again, it'll still say no and reject that input. And I would also like to mention that the difference columns you can see are all gray. The complete date columns are all gray. That is because this is a formula, as you can see here. And then the difference, we subtract the budget from the actual, or the actual from the budget to display what means what. Now we're good to go move on to our dashboard here. Here we can see the money in and the money out. This total expenses chart is based off of the money out. So out of here, this is the total. So 57.6% of that 3,000 is spent in needs, which is 1,957. Same with wants, same with savings. You can see your three incomes here, how accurate they are, and you know what they mean. This estimated income is so close to the gross because here you can have that 600 and that 400, and the gross income is 400. So usually it would be less because of all these taxes, but because you have this self-employment coming in and this miscellaneous coming in, that makes it close to the gross income. All right, if you go down here, you'll see all the payments you have due, no matter if you paid it off or not. So this is how many you have for your bills and payments, subscriptions. This is your spending budget that you set, your goal that you set for each of these categories. And then here's the chart overview. You'll see bills and payments. Here is the budget you set, but in this case, with the bills and payments, it's the amount due. So this is how much bills and payments you have due, and this is how much you paid off. Alright, so you didn't meet that. For the subscriptions, you didn't meet that either. You can hover over it, you know. These are the amount due and then the amount you paid off. Spending, this is the goal you set and how much of that goal you made. With savings, you can see we made our goal. And with investments, we made our goal. And with debt, we're still trying to pay off that debt for the month. that is a complete overview for the monthly budgeting spreadsheet. Mind you, I'll plug in for myself, give me some empathy. This spreadsheet is definitely one of the top tier ones. Took me about almost a month to make this. A lot of hours spent on this spreadsheet. It's amazing and has a lot of features that you want to be given with spreadsheets the same price. It's very simple. Why you can ask, why did I make it even more complex? Because sometimes simplicity is what we're looking for. Sometimes people are serious in their budget. Some people are just want simplicity when they're budgeting. So we made one that can be for either or. You can make it as complex as you want, or you can make it as simple as you want. Basically, like the manual entry, if you're like, I don't want to do all that, you do manual entry and just budget off of that and skip the net income calculator part. This itself is worth the same amount because sometimes a lot of spreadsheets only have this, and I'm selling it for the same amount. This introduction slide, let's go down a bit more. Here's the budget ratios entry, all of the sections. Here's the second sheet and third sheet. I'll probably add more to this for you guys to look out. As you can see, you can email me here or DM on Instagram. If you have any more questions, please come ask questions. And if you need troubleshooting, I'd also like to mention, try not to edit these formulas that you see in here. There's formulas. I'll try to lock them away from users. So please not try to edit what you don't need to. If something does happen, you can still contact me and I'll try to help you out there as soon as possible. What you really want to do is look at these white sections or these drop downs here and here, which will turn green when you apply the manual entry. So only enter information there and the drop downs. Mind you, if you do want to delete something, you can hover over here, but do not hover over empty drop down. If you do, that drop down is now gone. And it's an easy fix, but you're gonna have to spend some time fixing it. You could just hit that back, hit the undo button, and then yeah. Here, you can actually go here to clear it. You can highlight over that and see it has an entry in here. Delete it, and it won't delete the drop down. You can also delete the date here. All right, same with all of these other sections. These differences are automatically calculated. Don't edit them for your benefit, honestly, to prevent from any trouble. Dashboard here, you honestly don't need to edit anything here. This is all for you to view and to get a final look on everything. Here, okay, do not edit in any of the gray backgrounds. Like I said, I keep repeating this because I don't want you to have so many problems. If you go here, job 2, yes, it's a gray background. Not because it's automatically calculated, but because you haven't checked the box. See, once you check this off, it'll turn white, and that's where you can enter information. Self-explanatory again. You can go through here, play around, or actually budget. These are targeted towards people that are employees. If you do find a way where you can use this for just self-employment, it'll be very simple. You just put it in here. And you could do the hourly wage if you have that salary with businesses or whatnot. Another thing I would like to mention is pre-tax deductions. And post-tax deductions. You can see from your paycheck from your employer on your pay stub or pay statement. You should usually see these in the deductions section. And if not, ask your employer. They will usually have these and give you an amount so you can enter these here. We do not ask for any really sensitive information. So Google Sheets does have a strong cybersecurity program, so you don't need to worry too much about people taking your information. If so, your name's not on here, your social security, your job location. This is really just office, on-site, remote, hybrid, none. So it's not the address. Your job title is just, oh, where do you work? Canes? That's the closest they could think about. They would have to track you down from like hundreds of Canes restaurants. So yeah, that sums it up for the monthly budgeting template. I would encourage you to purchase this one because it is priced at the same amount as others that only have this sheet and may not even have all of these options for you here. So that's it. You could support me by purchasing, or if you already have, thank you so much. I hope you have the best time using this, and please let me know if you have any problems or see any bugs. Thank you so much, and that's it for this budgeting template. Have a good day.